Welcome back to Dr. Polyglot's English podcast. I'm your host, and today I have such a fun guest with me. Ethan, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's been a little while since we've actually had a proper sit down and just talked. How has everything been going for you lately?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's been busy. You know how it is with college and also baseball. But I actually had a really chill weekend. I just stayed in and watched sports basically all day Saturday.
Oh, that is so funny because that's literally what we're talking about today. Sports.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that while I was watching. I was like, oh, okay, I should probably have some thoughts prepared.
Wait, did you do homework for this podcast?
I kind of did, yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
That is dedication. I love it. Okay, let's get into it. So, my sport, my absolute favorite sport in the entire world is tennis.
Oh, yeah? I've watched tennis before, but I'll be honest, I always get a little lost with the scoring. The numbers never quite make sense to me.
The thing is, once it clicks, it actually makes total sense. So a tennis match is made up of sets, and sets are made up of games, and games are made up of points. That's the basic structure. But here's the part that throws everyone off. The points aren't called 1, 2, 3, 4. They're called 15, 30, 40, and then game. And then you win the game. But here's where it gets really interesting. If both players tie at 40-40, that's called deuce. And from deuce, you have to win 2 points in a row to take the game. The first point after deuce is called advantage. And if you win the very next point, you win the game. But if you lose it, it goes right back to deuce. And it can keep going like that indefinitely. And to win a set, you need to win 6 games, but you have to win by 2.
Okay, I feel like I actually understand it now. Like, it genuinely clicked just now.
See? That's always the moment I live for, when someone gets it. And once you understand the scoring, watching a match becomes so much more exciting because you actually know what's at stake at every moment.
Yeah, I can totally see that. The context makes everything more intense.
Exactly. And for me, it's not even just the scoring, it's the whole atmosphere of the sport. Tennis is one of those rare sports where the crowd goes completely silent before every single point. There's this incredible tension right before the serve.
That does sound intense.
Exactly. And the big tournaments, the Grand Slams, they're just a whole other level. So there are 4 of them. The Australian Open is in January. That's the first one of the year. Then you have the French Open in May and June, which is also called Roland Garros, named after the stadium in Paris where it's played. Then Wimbledon in late June and July. And finally, the U.S. Open in August and September.
I've definitely heard of Wimbledon. That's the really fancy one in England, right?
The really fancy one, yes. It's the oldest Grand Slam and honestly the most iconic. And it's played on grass courts, which is actually super rare. Most tournaments use hard courts or clay. Wimbledon also has all these wonderful traditions. The players wear almost entirely white, which is strictly enforced, and they serve strawberries and cream to the fans. And then the French Open is on clay, which makes the game slower and way more physical. The rallies go on forever. It's exhausting to watch in the best possible way. And then the U.S. Open is probably the most electric atmosphere. It's in New York. The crowds are incredibly loud, very different energy from Wimbledon's restrained politeness.
Okay, your enthusiasm is fully contagious. I feel like I need to go watch a match this weekend. But can I talk about my sport now?
Yes, please tell me everything about baseball. I'll be honest, I know very, very little.
Okay, so baseball is kind of America's sport. It's deeply woven into the culture here. My dad played, my grandfather played, so I grew up with it from day one. My earliest memories are literally just being in the backyard throwing a ball around with my dad.
Oh, that's such a sweet image. A real family tradition.
Totally. Yeah. And I joined a Little League team when I was about 6 and just never really stopped. So, the basics of baseball, you've got two teams, 9 players each. One team is batting, one team is out in the field. The fielding team has a pitcher who throws the ball toward a batter. The batter tries to hit it.
Right. Okay, I'm with you so far.
So, if you hit the ball, you run. There are 4 bases arranged in a diamond shape: first base, second base, third base, and then home plate. The goal is to make it all the way around all the bases and step on home plate. Every time you do that, your team scores a run.
So a run is basically like a point. Got it.
Exactly. A run is a point, and the pitcher is always trying to get the batter out. There are a few ways that can happen. The most well-known one is 3 strikes. You get 3 strikes and you're out. Or the fielders can catch the ball before it hits the ground. Or they can tag you with the ball before you reach a base safely.
Okay, what exactly counts as a strike, though? Because I've always been fuzzy on that.
Good question. So a strike is when the batter swings and misses, or when the ball passes through the strike zone, which is roughly the area over home plate between the batter's knees and chest, and the batter just doesn't swing. That second one is called a called strike.
Oh, so you can get a strike without even swinging, just by not moving?
Exactly right. And that's what makes pitching such a technically demanding art. The control, the different types of pitches, the strategy of it, it's incredibly complex.
So it could go on for a really long time if the scoring is close.
Oh, it absolutely can. Some games go on for 3, 4 hours, and if it's tied after 9 innings, you go to extra innings until someone wins. There's no clock in baseball. But honestly, that's part of the charm. It's not rushing anywhere. You're just sitting there enjoying it, talking, eating a hot dog.
That's actually kind of nice. It sounds more like an event than just a game.
That's exactly what it is. It's an experience. And speaking of experiences, okay, so this is where my personal story comes in. Because I didn't just love baseball as a fan, I played it seriously.
Oh, yeah. You have to tell me this story. I want to hear everything.
Okay, so I was a pitcher in high school, and by my junior and senior year, I was playing at a pretty high level. I worked really hard at it. And in my senior year, I got recruited to play baseball for my college team.
Wait, what? Ethan, that is so cool. Like a college scout actually watched you play?
Yeah, it was wild. I still remember the day the coach called me directly. He said they'd been watching a few of my games and they wanted me on the team. I remember just standing in my kitchen completely frozen for like 5 seconds before I could even respond.
Oh my gosh. And what did your family say?
My dad hugged me immediately. My mom called like 4 different relatives within the hour. It was a lot. But the really fascinating part, and this is something not everyone knows about the US, is what being a recruited student athlete actually means in terms of your education.
Oh, yeah? Like financially?
Yeah, both financially and academically. So at a lot of colleges, especially Division I programs, which are the top competitive tier, they offer athletic scholarships. These can cover a huge portion of your tuition, sometimes almost all of it. For me, the tuition I paid was a fraction of what regular students were paying for the exact same school.
That's genuinely incredible. I had no idea the financial difference was that significant.
And the actual experience of being a student athlete, I mean, it was incredible and completely exhausting at the same time. I had practice almost every single day. We traveled on weekends for away games, and I still had to show up to class and get assignments done.
That sounds like so much to juggle all at once.
It really builds you as a person. And, okay, I have to ask, does this make you want to watch a baseball game?
You know what? Genuinely, yes. I feel like I would actually understand what I was watching now, which makes a huge difference. And honestly, the idea of sitting outside on a warm evening with a hot dog watching a game sounds lovely.
That is the exact ideal baseball experience you just described. I promise once you go to a game in person, you'll be hooked. The atmosphere is just unreal.
Okay, we might have to make that a plan. All right, so we've covered a lot today. Tennis, baseball, grand slams, tie breaks, pitching, student athletes.
We really covered some ground.
But you know what I love about conversations like this? You learn so much about a person through the sports they love. Like, you grew up throwing a ball with your dad, you earned your way onto a college team. That's not just sport, that's your whole story.
That's a really nice way to put it. And same, I had no idea you were such a tennis fan.
I am completely obsessed. Ask anyone who knows me. During Wimbledon, I basically go off the grid for 2 weeks. I'm fully unavailable.
That is true dedication. I respect it deeply.
Thank you. Ethan, this was honestly such a great conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's always so much fun to talk about sports.
Absolutely. And to everyone who's been listening in with us today, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. We'll be back soon with another episode of Dr. Polyglot's English podcast. Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.